So can you please state your name and date of birth?
Louichi Mayorga's June 21st, 1963.
What years have you lived in Venice?
Pretty much all my life. There was a period where I lived in Santa Monica on 3rd Street and Strand. When I was 6, my dad moved us out of the neighborhood. I had a different dad than my older brother. And my older brother was a gang member from Venice, and it was a little dangerous for us. And I got shot in the eye with a BB gun. And so my dad moved us out. It was from the neighborhood, the neighbors down the street. They're having a BB gun fight. And I got shot in the eye, and then we moved, and we still had our houses right there on 6th and Sunset, and I made my way back there later. My family came from Central California, from first New Mexico, Central California, then West LA and Venice. We came about 1915, 1916. They were in New Mexico for a while, and they wanted more opportunity. They wanted to work the fields. They were done with Las Cruces, New Mexico, where they had a bed and breakfast. Pancho Villa would come through, whomping and stomping. And they had little stories they would tell me about Pancho Villa. Coming, all the kids would hide, my grandmother would hide under the table, and my great-grandmother would have them come and stay at the bed and breakfast, feed them, and then be on their way again. And they all knew my great-grandmother, Secundina Villa. And they got on the train. There was a big old, I think, a Mexican-American opportunity. I forgot the term of it, but a lot of people were driven to Central California to work the farms. And then they came down south. My grandmother, Grandma Lupe, she was in the 20s. She was one of the first girls that had her own car. It was a wind-up car. I got a picture of that. She's standing all proud in front of her car. She goes, "I was the first one to get a car," amongst her friends and girls around here in the West Side, to have a car. Our family, I know my great-grandmother my grandmother bought that house in Venice, 1924, 25, and it's the house I live in right now. I remember my Uncle Louis coming to pick us up, and we'd go to the ruins of the POP, where it was just like a ruins. Everything was left there. Like some of the aquariums out in the open. Part of the pier and the plankings and all that pilings, whatever, just stuff shoved in the sand, and you had to watch out because you might get your foot pricked on by a piece of wood or whatever. But it was like everything was just like left there, most of it, and that was really fun. Ditching school, going over there and just hanging out in the ruins of the POP, and Dogtown was popping off for me when I was a little kid, and see everyone whizzing by. I mean, I wasn't a skateboarder. I couldn't surf. But it was good eye candy to watch all the fun stuff, The Venice community around the Oakwood area was, it was artsy-fartsy, not artsy-fartsy, beatniky a little bit, but more to me consumed the neighborhood was the Latin and the Black community. It was strong here in Oakwood, and there was gangs running around, and we're talking about the 70s, and it was just like everyone knew their place, kind of. You know what I mean? A lot of people didn't want to live or come down to Venice, But when it got dark, it got dark. At nighttime, you just stay. It was kind of dangerous. I'm not gonna lie, I seen stuff go down, and like a lot of people did. You know what I mean? Yeah, there was skaters. Yeah, there was surfers and artists and everything. And then there was like the shadier side of Venice. You had the Crips and the Venice Trece, and when I was younger, I wasn't trying to be no gangster. My brother and all, my two brothers did all that, and I just really got into music. So I would hang out with the skaters. I'd hang out with the homies. I'd hang out with the artists, the musicians, and I remember I was a little kid and we were walking and all of a sudden we'd hear this band playing, and it just so happened to be the band Blue Cheer was practicing in one of the garages, and it just blew me away. You know what I mean? That there was something else out there other than, just the dark side of life and just violence, and which I was drawn to. You know what I mean?
How old were you when you first started playing music, or what was your first instrument? How old were you?
Like 12 years old, 12, 13. But I was already into music. I just didn't play. It took till I got around 12 or 13 when I was like seeing all the other scenes happening, like the Dogtown Skaters, all that group, or the home, whatever, and just the music, playing the music really, and I found the band Led Zeppelin. They were like my moment, and where I was like, I need to get down and play some of that music and learn it, and that'd be my in to hanging out with these guys or hanging out with these guys. You know what I mean? I had an older brother that was a gangster. I had an older brother that was in college, and I didn't know it back then, but I was getting pulled both ways. I was being taught how to, if I want to kill somebody, I can kill somebody. I was being taught if I wanted to, go to school, and this is, my brother would take me to Rush Week at UCSB. I got another brother showing me, this is how you do this and this is how you do that. And, but like music saved my life. And that was the thing in between those two pools was the music. I went and saw The Song Remains the Same in 75 or 76. And I remember you had to pay a candy wrapper to go see it at the Criterion Theater in Santa Monica. Paid my candy wrapper, and I remember walking out, and it was daylight. It was a matinee, and I was just like, the fuck did I just see? And I just knew then and there I wanted the music, you know what I mean? And I really focused. I saved my money, I joined Suicidal Tendencies in the summer of 1981. And they were already a band for like a year or so before me. So I joined Suicidal Tendencies in 1981. Summer.
Was there already a punk scene happening in Venice?
Yeah, but it was really, really underground. It hadn't raised to what it was and settled, but there was a scene, and it was fun. Right when I got in, I dove in, head first. So there was nobody in front of us. So we were kind of I didn't realize we were kind of doing our own thing, trailblazing, and nobody told us to behave. So we were buck wild. And but after that first record came out, we set a bar. Suicidal Tendencies, we set a bar, and all the bands that we were opening for before, they're now opening for us. We had a song on the radio. I was just turned 20. I was 19 when I recorded it. And, oh man, it was fun as hell. It was fun as hell because we had a song on the radio where we knew the riffraff around the neighborhood. We knew all the Dogtowners and all the, skaters. And it was just great times in the early 80s. It was an explosion, The punk scene exploded. And next thing you know, I didn't want to hear anything else, I was in tune with what was going on right then and there. Bands like Beowulf and No Mercy and Excel, no reaction.
Were you guys friends, or were you feeling like you were?
Yeah, we're all friends. We all knew each other. Oh yeah, we had the Welcome to Venice, the first one, where we did a compilation of all these bands, Venice bands, and that was a scene. It was a big old scene, the Venice punk rock scene. Which ended up like crossing over, punk rock to crossover metal, and supposedly that first album is a big crossover type band, and people told me that we started that song, the crossover. So punk rock, people think it's crossover. Again, the rock and roll that started it. You know what I mean? I think. And we go on those early tours. And if you brought up Venice Beach or Santa Monica, they're like, whoa, you know what I mean? Because people were that was a dream for a lot of people to come down, to go to the beach or hang out with the skaters, or, you know what I mean? And I remember being young and being like, on our first tour, I was like 20, going on these big ass sold out tours. And, the minute you said Venice Beach, you got attention, we're from Venice, It had a name, the skaters, the street life, the culture, you know what I mean? It was popping. I saw things shifting in Venice probably in the late 90s, the little gentrification type thing, right? And people just started selling their houses, and they thought $350,000 was like winning the lotto. You know what I mean?
You still kept your family house. You still have your family house. So
Yeah.
your family resisted that urge, that push to make them sell.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we did. I mean, it meant too much to us. The family jewel, 90-year-old rock of history, our family epicenter, I've always lived west of Lincoln my whole life, so I'm trying to keep it that way.